Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the 1982 film called Still of the Night. Now this is a suspense film, a psychological thriller film. It stars Roy Scheider and Meryl Streep. This film was released, I believe, just a few weeks prior to Sophie's Choice in 1982, which Meryl Streep was in, very, very well renowned and award-winning film. So it was a busy end of the year 1982 for her. But getting back to this movie, Still of the Night, of course, Scheider is perhaps best known for his role in the Jaws film. We all know Meryl Streep has had many, many Academy Award nominations. Now for Still of the Night, she did not have a Academy Award nomination for Best Actress or Supporting Actress. For this movie, Still of the Night, the plot gets going very quickly. The opening sequence, a random man is walking down the street and trying to open car doors, and when he gets to a particular car, the door opens, but a dead body falls down, slumped over. So that gets it going right away. So we have this dead body, on our hands in the plot. And where does it go from there? So Roy Scheider plays Dr. Sam Rice, who's a psychiatrist. It turns out we find out soon enough that the dead man, who is George Bynum, the character George Bynum, played by Joseph Summer. Joseph Summer might be best known as the corrupt policeman, or I believe police chief, in the 1985 film Witness, starring Harrison Ford. But once again, I digress a little bit. So getting back to Still of the Night, Bynum had been seeing Dr. Rice twice a week for about 2 years. So then it quickly finds out Meryl Streep's character, whose name is Brooke Reynolds, goes to Dr. Rice and returns the watch. This was the watch that Bynum had given her because Bynum was having an affair with her. And Streep basically asked Dr. Rice if he could, give that watch back to Bynum's wife. So, a police detective comes into the fray and everything, and but Dr. Rice, he really is on a bit of a mission, in the sense that, he could separate himself from this, but, having spent so much time with Bynum, he kind of wants to know the story and wants to know why he died and everything. So today's vocab word in film is flashback. I think we all know what a flashback is, even in movies, but a flashback is a filmed sequence that goes back in time to provide expository material, either when it is most dramatically appropriate and powerful, or when it most effectively illuminates the theme. And today's word was flashback because Scheider's character, Dr. Rice, he has flashbacks about his conversations with Bynum, okay, and that's why that's, you know, when we see Bynum in the film. And so he has these flashbacks, and those are the main flashbacks in the movie. And so what happens, there is this sequence where, you know, Bynum had told Rice this story about a dream he has walking through the woods, you know, into this mysterious house. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, an eerie kind of, well, it's supposedly a dream, eerie scenario. And so, you know, being a psychiatrist, Rice is trying to figure it out. So, you know, I wanted to introduce the plot, get the plot going for you. I don't want to give a whole lot more away in case you decide to see Still of the Night. So, you know, yeah, this film has some Jessica Tandy. I did not mention her yet. She's also in this film. She plays Dr. Rice's mother, and she's in a couple scenes, I believe. And you know, this is a fairly suspenseful movie. You know, a thriller. There are some thrilling aspects. You know, obviously, like a lot of thrillers or suspense films, you know, it really takes a while for you know, to kind of get to where a lot is revealed. So it's not until, you know, pretty much the end where everything is revealed and comes together. So, you know, with Streep's character. And so, yeah, I will say there is an interesting, because Streep's character, well, and Bynum's character as well, they worked at an auction house, like an art gallery auction house type thing. And so there is a nice scene there where they're doing an art auction. And for you film buffs out there, you know, what's the earlier film that, you know, has a pretty famous film art auction scene? And that would be, you know, North by Northwest has that famous scene. Although this auction scene in Still of the Night is quite a bit longer, and it's interesting. They're auctioning off, you know, these this artwork by different artists, by real life artists. And, you know, some of they mentioned like 5 different artists, I believe. Some of them, their names I recognize, some I don't, because I'm, you know, I like art. I'm not a huge art fan, or don't have a ton of knowledge about it. But Henri Matisse, I had heard of him, don't really know his work though. Jim Dine, I had never heard of him before, so I looked him up. Jackson Pollock, I think everyone knows him. And then Leger, L-E-G-E-R, and Lichtenstein as well. So I had to look those guys up as well. Roy Lichtenstein, I believe, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so yeah, that's just a cool sequence. And I will say, you know, obviously with the auction house, Streep's character is kind of involved there. But that's the part in the, you know, we're probably almost 3/4 of the way through the movie when that auction scene happens. So a lot is starting to kind of come to fruition and make more sense, a little bit at least, at that point. So yeah, another scene that just kind of made me laugh when Dr. Rice and his mom is, you know, they're having kind of Chinese carry out for dinner, and they're I think they're literally writing notes on the whiteboard, trying to figure things out. That's somewhat earlier in the movie. Or another scene when he's doing laundry, I believe, in the basement of his where he lives, whatever apartment complex probably, and the basement, that's kind of just eerie. And one of the signs on the wall, though, did say something about it being, due to increased costs of labor and parts, it now costs a whopping 75 cents to, use the machine. And I'm, paraphrasing the wording there, of course, but I think all of us in modern times have, in recent years seen those things due to increased costs or whatever. Prices of things have higher, but wouldn't we, like to, be able to, use a washing machine for that cheaply? That would be nice. So, yeah, I hope I gave you a little bit of background about the film. I got into the plot a little bit, and yeah, I'd say the acting is pretty good overall in this suspense thriller film. You do think a decent amount. The plot is not overly complex. It really isn't that complex of a plot. The twists and turns aren't tremendous. I mean, we've all seen, I'm sure, many more movies where the twists and turns are a lot more, where it really knocks you back. Not as much in this film, leading to, or lending to the kind of, spookiness of, when there is a scene in Central Park, and of course it's at night, and some stuff happens there. So I think that sums up everything I want to say about Still of the Night here, the 1982 film, starring again Roy Scheider and Meryl Streep. I thought they both did a fine job, pretty good job. I don't think these two lead roles required significant depth, but enough depth that they got through it. They were believable. The few supporting characters were pretty good as well, although most of the supporting characters weren't that developed. Obviously Bynum's character, Bynum, was dead at the beginning, and then he has the flashbacks. The detective, police detective, was a slightly interesting character. I found it very odd though, because it just one part, in the sense that I believe his office, or he was working on this case, but his office was essentially on one of the floors of the auction house or art gallery. Maybe it was hard to tell. That was not clear. I assumed it was like a temporary office so he could focus on this case, I'm presuming. So yeah, let's get to the big rating now. Watch it again, or once is enough. This one actually is somewhat trickier to decide, because I do feel like this is a decent movie. And certainly if you like psychological thrillers, suspense films, I think you would enjoy it, especially on an evening when the sun has already gone down, it's dark outside, maybe if it's raining. This is the kind of movie you put on. So, if normally on this channel I don't give away stars too much on the 1 to 4 scale, but this is a decent enough movie where I'd say maybe about 2.75 stars out of 4. So pretty good movie. I would overall, I would say, yeah, I would generally recommend this to most, movie fans. However, on my strict scale of watch it again or once is enough, I'm going to have to go on this side and say once is enough. I watched this movie. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Still of the night, but not a movie I feel like I need to see again, or if I did see again, that I'm going to get much out of, because I saw it. I kind of, got the kickers, I guess, the plot twists, especially at the end when it all comes together, as I said. So for the 1982 psychological thriller suspense film, OIE, once is enough. I'm saying once is enough for that film. So take that, how you'll take it, and interpret it how you want to interpret it, and we'll go from there. Again, if you have any comments whatsoever, suggestions of movies you'd like me to watch and review, please leave any comments you have, good, bad, anything in the middle, in between. I really appreciate you tuning in. Movies are great, movies are wonderful. So much, you can enjoy from them, and I think really learn a lot too. They're an art form at the end of the day. Again, if you're at all interested in my book, you can find that on Amazon, Analyzing 59 Classic Films, if you want to check it out. Some of my reviews in written form, so they'll probably flow a little more smoothly in written form there. So check it out if you'd like. Thanks again for tuning in, and take care.